Former President Donald Trump's false claims about the 2020 election now have him calling for the Constitution to be terminated. It came after Twitter owner Elon Musk promised to expose how the company suppressed free speech by blocking the New York Post story about Hunter Biden in the run-up to the 2020 election. The so-called Twitter files were released on Friday, but failed to show any evidence that Democrats or the government pressured Twitter into suppressing the story. Still, Trump tweeted this on Saturday. With the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception, and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Democrats were quick to condemn the remarks. The White House released the following statement: the American Constitution is a sacrosanct document that for over 200 years has guaranteed that freedom and the rule of law prevail in our great country. The Constitution brings the American people together regardless of party, and elected leaders swear to uphold it. It's the ultimate monument to all of the Americans who have given their lives to defeat self-serving despots and abused their power and trampled on fundamental rights. Attacking the Constitution and all it stands for is anathema to the soul of our nation and should be universally condemned. You can not only love America when you win. Most top Republicans have so far been silent. Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger tweeted this: with the former president calling to throw aside the Constitution, not a single conservative can legitimately support him, and not a single supporter can be called a conservative. This is insane. Trump hates the Constitution. He then called on top Republican House members Kevin McCarthy, Elise Stefanik, and Jim Jordan to respond. Former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton tweeted, all real conservatives must oppose Trump's re-election bid. And here is former Chief of Staff to Vice President Mike Pence on Meet the Press.
I don't think it's a good platform for a presidential campaign to say that we should just set the Constitution aside. And I feel like we've seen this, I think, digression continue ever since January 6th. And, you know, candidly, as far as putting the Constitution aside, I candidly think that's what he asked the vice president to do 2 years ago when rioters were attacking the Capitol, and he asked the vice president to overturn the election results. And so I think, unfortunately, this has been a consistent trend.
And there was this exchange involving the top Republican on the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner.
Should the standard bearer for the Republican Party, the front runner for the nomination for the presidency for your party in 2024, say this?
Well, first of all, I vehemently disagree with the statement that Trump has made. Trump has made, 1,000 statements in which I disagree. There is a political process that has to go forward before anybody
Constitutional conservatives are pretty clear about where they value the Constitution.
Right, exactly. But
is there any scenario with suspending the Constitution?
You do get to pick the questions, but I do get to pick my answer.
I know. I'm trying to get you to answer the question I'm asking.
There is a political process that has to go forward before anybody's a front runner or anybody is even the candidate for the party. And
do you condemn him saying something like this?
Absolutely. And I believe, answering your question, that people certainly are going to take into consideration a statement like this as they evaluate a candidate.
Really? You have to evaluate that? You have to evaluate that. So you have to evaluate racism. You have to evaluate anti-Semitism, core values of our country. You have to evaluate when they are tromped on. And you have to evaluate terminating the Constitution. There is no Republican. There is no one who can call themselves a conservative. Quite frankly, there's no one who can call themselves an American and still support Donald Trump. It's pretty simple. And Republicans, you know this, you're in a corner. He's put you in there. You are squished into that corner. The question is, are you going to man up and step out? Donald Trump has now told us, Charlie Sykes, that he's a traitor to the U.S. Constitution. He's a traitor to America, okay, in his words. I don't think there's any other way to put it. I don't know what else you need. I don't know what middle ground there is in any answer to any question about this, but an unequivocal rejection of Donald Trump. And I mean, we've watched our values get flouted, mocked over the past several weeks, even throughout his entire presidency. But come on, what more do you need? But who are you? Because you're not a Republican, not you, Charlie, but people like Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan and Elise Stefanik and other leaders in this party who can't claim to actually, I mean, even Mike Pence can't really come close to saying it. He's getting closer. God bless him. Better late than never. But the Constitution of the United States of America, he stated he wants to terminate the United States Constitution. This is done.
He put it in writing. This is the extraordinary. I mean, I feel like we're in some sort of an insane alternative reality simulation here. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, you've had Donald Trump pledge solidarity for the January 6th rioters. He has dinner with an actual neo-Nazi and a notorious anti-Semite who is a fan of Adolf Hitler. And then he calls for terminating all the laws, including the articles of the Constitution. And the Republican Party, the fact that they cannot draw the line here is really extraordinary, although perhaps not new. It is as if Donald Trump has gone full troll. How far can he push this? How much can he get them to swallow? On Tuesday, we had a federal jury find the Oath Keepers leaders guilty of seditious conspiracy. 4 days later, the former president of the United States says, seditious conspiracy, hold my beer. I'm actually going to put out a call to terminate the Constitution so that I can be restored. And Republicans.
Oh, lost Charlie there. We'll get his audio back. But bottom line is, it's not just what he can get Republicans to swallow. He's making complete fools of you and everything you stand for and everything you've ever worked for in your life. But he's a danger to our country. These are dangerous statements. He is telling you what he wants to do. Believe him. Okay? Like, how much does this country have to go through? How much division? How much hatred? How much pressure on our system, how much law enforcement, the FBI, the Department of Justice, police officers, anybody who's in Donald Trump's sights, how much does this country have to go through? How much stress on our system and on our democracy do we need to endure before we see that this man is a fascist and that he has very, very bad intentions? And Republicans, you are helping him by not stepping up and manning up and saying what is right and who you are and what you really are, what you stand for. And if you're not a Republican and you're not a conservative, then you can go follow after Donald Trump. But if you are, then you need to walk away loudly.